Good evening, welcome to the Goffstown Sewer Commission. This is our regular scheduled meeting. We'll begin with a roll call, and I'll start with Keith.
Keith Canton, Assistant Sewer Foreman.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
Dave Pierce, Sewer Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Daniel Taylor, Commissioner.
Michael Trank, Consulting Engineer.
Thank you all for being here. Now we'll start with public comment. Is there anyone here to speak regarding public comment? Seeing no one's here, we'll close the public comment. Minutes of November 13th.
Have a motion to approve the minutes, November 13th.
Second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion on the motion?
They look fine.
All
Mr.
those in
Chair.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. New business, Lynn?
Okay, I gave you a list of encumbrances that finance gave me. And I just need you to go ahead and look at them and see if that's okay.
Could you please tell us what they are?
Yeah, well, the first one is Chevron Consolidated. The PO still has $16,316.70
We'll take
left
'em-
on it.
We'll take them one at a time, please, Lynn.
Yep, that's for East Union and Riverview Park.
Mike, could you comment on that if you have anything to let us know about?
Yeah, I actually have a payment application. Yeah, I have a payment application for that, so.
For that full amount?
No, well,
Okay, so we'll vote on the encumbrances, and then even if finance doesn't process these in time, we will have covered our bases.
Well,
yeah,
you
the-
have to, go ahead,
Payment
Mike.
application is for $9,310,
All right,
and then that will leave the retainage as the balance to finish, and the retainage is $7,000.
I think we'll let finance do the numbers on the pluses and minuses, but if we vote to encumber the full amount, then they'll just deduct from that, and that'll leave a balance.
Okay. The next one is Albert Street. It is, we still have $80,726.25.
Okay, we have a note in the margin that Mike's working with the vendor on final
Yeah,
amount.
I was able to get in touch with them, and I know I think there's 50,000 that we know of. They said that you were going back and forth with them on that one.
Yeah, they sent me a draft payment application number 2 for the project. And they've got 2 spreadsheets attached to it, so all of the pay items are broken up into 2 spreadsheets, which is really annoying. And then the number, the total they have on the summary sheet front doesn't jibe with anything on the spreadsheets, so I sent those comments back to them. She called and left me a message today, and I'll have to call and work with them on it.
All right, so we'll just vote on the full amount, and we'll let finance do the deduction when Mike works out the final amounts. Okay, Lynn?
And the last one is the Elm Street Pump Station. There's still $45,550 left on the PO.
Mike?
That's done, we just need to do the final balancing change order.
Okay, so we may end up with a surplus on that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Well, it doesn't matter, but
how much is in the retainage. I think
will
the
we have
state
enough
did
in that amount to cover it?
the retainage?
No, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so so we have to make a motion for that. Let's see, hold on.
And as for information only, we still have 2 active, we have an active PO, Lynn, from 22 for Grenice from Louis Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that money is still encumbered but has not been used. Are we done with Louis Street, Mike?
Mhm.
Complete, finished?
Mhm.
Have we paid their retainage?
I think so. Yeah,
Well-
I know they sent an invoice for it, or they have for it.
All right, so everything seems to be okay. Any questions from the commissioners for Lynn or Mike?
So what did we just discuss on Lewis Street? The balance is no longer necessary?
Well, Mike thinks it's not necessary.
Yeah, that one, you're not really, that was just for our information.
Mhm.
You know, we can still look into that one. It was the top 3 that we need to make a motion on and vote.
Okay.
So totaling the 142,593.77. And then I need you guys to each,
Anybody have any questions regarding the amounts for either Lynn or Mike?
So, motion?
Did you have questions?
No.
and I need you guys to all
I'm
sign.
gonna have you sign it when.
Sign.
So, Mr. Chair, motion concerning 2024 encumbrances. 3, to a contract we have with Sherburne Consolidated to an encumbrance of $16,316.70.
Second.
A contract with DME Excavation in the amount of $80,726.25. And finally, another contract with Sherburne Consolidated with an encumbrance of $45,550.82.
I'll second the motion.
What was the total, David?
The total, okay, the total on those 3 encumbrances will be $142,593.77.
Motion's been made, and Daniel, you seconded it?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Can I have that one for my record, the blank one that you
Yeah.
were going to give me to sign? Finance, could you come on the table, please? Or sit on the side, wherever you feel like sitting.
Yeah, come up closer.
Thank you.
On the PO for Granese and Son, which goes back to 22, Mike thinks we maybe have completed that and paid the retainage on that. Do you have any knowledge of one way or the other on that account?
The encumbrance that you're seeing in there is the amount that we still have encumbered on the finance system. We can look into the actual total payments and compare with Mike's records through Lynn.
Because we could possibly close that out and then transfer
Yeah.
that money back over to the general, to our enterprise fund.
Right, as it's still in your enterprise fund, it's just held in a reserved category under the auditing
I see.
standards. So if it is able to be closed out, it'll just close right to your year-end balance.
So I'll, by way of Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you and Mike, through Lynn, decide if we are
Coordinate.
free and clear of the Granese.
Yeah,
And should we be, we'll have you close that one out.
okay, perfect.
Okay, is that for the encumbrances, Lynn?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, we already did the sewer warrant. We've all signed it and handed it to Lynn. We have a document, it's agreeing Goffstown and St. A's. Dave, have you?
We'll do that after. Danielle's gotta get out of here, so we were gonna let her go.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we have anything else for Danielle.
No, she came for what's on the old business sewer budget warrant.
The separate article potentially.
Oh, I thought it was the warrant we signed.
No, that's underneath where it says AP warrant.
Okay, sewer budget warrant, please, you have the
Okay.
floor.
So, just want to pass this around. So at your last meeting in November, I had brought forward the idea of having the sewer operating budget put forward on the ballot as a separate warrant article, where we could clearly identify that there's a net zero impact, there's no tax collection, and that way, if the town operating budget does not pass, as we had this year, the sewer commission wouldn't necessarily be in a default budget as well. So this is just an example of some of the language that we would be putting forward to DRA as a draft. The language that you see in quotes is really the RSA required language under the SB2 designation for how we have to word the article. And then we have a little bit of leeway in the preceding paragraph and the note following to help explain to people that these amounts are from sewer user fees and not from taxation.
All right, well, the first thing I see is in the fourth paragraph, it says, shall the town of Goffstown vote to raise and appropriate?
That's correct. That means the legislative body. And that's required by the state law.
I think the taxpayers are gonna confuse and think that the taxpayers are raising the money with the statement, the town of Goffstown.
Yes, and that's why we added in language
They don't read
preceding
it,
that.
they don't read
Well-
beyond the first line.
I know, but if the DRA says that
That's-
this is the language that's
is-
required, it doesn't give us a lot of leeway.
This is a DRA language. It conforms to how they want an article to be written.
So we tried to separate out sewer enterprise fund as much as possible to make that clear. We added a note there at the bottom that the article is paid by customer service by the sewer collection
Yeah.
system.
You put that at the very end of the article.
As they are on all articles.
Yep, and made sure that it said this article, sewer enterprise fund, has no tax impact right before they see the recommendations. We also listed in the second paragraph, this budget will be predicated by estimated revenues showing an exact same amount and collected from sewer user fees. So we're trying as much as possible within the areas we're allowed to edit to put that information forward. And of course, it will be in the voter's guide as well.
What happens if they vote no? And
Then-
it doesn't pass? Do we go with our default budget?
You go with your default budget, which is listed in the article,
Which
Which really doesn't
which doesn't,
matter so
Yeah.
much.
yeah, you guys still have the ability to access all those funds from prior
Funds.
years.
Mr. Chair, the note makes it, to me, explicitly clear this article has no tax impact. And those are very critical words for a voter to see on a warrant article.
Jan, you have anything?
It's unfortunate that we have to stick to this language.
Yeah, the language is very confusing to the tax, because they're gonna read Town of Goffstown, and they're gonna say, they want $500,000 more than last year? No, we're not gonna give it to them. And they'll never get to the last note at the bottom.
How,
Personally, I think you have a better chance of this
Could
passing
the note
than-
be at the top of the article? Could we start the article off with,
I mean, we started with the standard formatting. Technically, everything outside of the quotation marks is there by our, by DRA's blessing, allowing us to get a little bit flexible there. It's something where we could try to shift something up to the top and see if DRA will still accept it. But they have the right to actually reduce it all the way down to just the quotation marks in between.
and then we
those.
can say we don't wanna do it?
So the way the law is written, it's actually the select board that makes the decision.
So why are we doing this, and why don't the select board just do it for us?
Because the select board is looking for the commissioner's input and didn't want to just surprise you with a change to the warrant article.
Mr.
So
Chair,
they wanted
I
to
have
discuss
a,
the pros and cons.
I have a
and
copy
answer
of the
questions.
RSA.
Excuse me, David, she's speaking, so could you just
No,
wait until she's
she-
done? She is
Excuse me,
speaking.
She had finished up.
No,
I'm
she wasn't.
sorry.
She was in motion speaking when
So-
you interrupted.
Excuse me for interrupting.
Please finish.
So, we just wanted to make sure that the sewer commissioners had an opportunity to review this language and give us feedback if you would like us to bring something to DRA for them to see if they can consider some alternative language before the select board were to decide if they were gonna put it out as a separate article. They didn't wanna just blindside the commission without discussing it.
David?
Yes, I had, independently of what Danielle just mentioned, I looked at the RSA concerning assessment for sewers, And it's very clear there that our job as commissioners is to submit the anticipated revenues and expenditures for the sewer fund to the governing body. And then the words go on to say that then that budget will be either incorporated in the municipal budget or a separate warrant article. But our job is simply to turn the anticipated budget over to the select board. Their job is to have it posted before the voters, and they have two options.
Okay, thank you.
Can we
Daniel?
eliminate the words "will raise" in the first sentence?
So, under the first sentence in the quotation, it has to remain,
Yeah, I
because
meant-
that's
I
state
meant
law, but at the
top.
very top,
Also,
yeah, I think we could.
yeah,
We could try to see if DRA would accept it if we just say, to see if the town will appropriate,
or yeah, that's what I meant.
so that it's directly, because it's
Because
still
we're not raising money.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I'm always the fly in the ointment, and I don't mind being the fly in the ointment. I find this whole procedure to be disturbing, and I'll tell you why. Because Lynn and I have been going to the budget meetings for as long as I've been a commissioner, and it came up at a budget meeting that we should be careful how much we budget in our budget for pumps and different things, that even if we didn't use it, because it makes the town budget look big, and it gets the town budget gets failed possibly because the sewer budget looked big. And those are words that came from people that work for the town of Goffstown. I won't say names. And we dutifully reduced our lines in order to help with that process. Then we, on the advice of finance, we took extra money that we didn't need and we moved it over to the trustees of the trust fund, because then we could lower our budget and still be able to have access to the funds. So we did two things that was requested by the town officials. Now we're at a point where they want to take our budget out of the warrant article altogether, and I'm wondering what the reason is that this needs to be considered. What is the actual reason why this is being requested?
So,
Because it's been like this for how many years? Since the 70s, when the sewer department was founded?
when they first became an enterprise fund,
Yeah.
there were different rules. That was prior to us becoming an SB2 town as well. So there were changes in the 90s when we converted to an SB2 town. The laws continue to evolve, but DRA every year says, are you sure you want to include your sewer department where it's an enterprise fund and can stand on its own? The DRA has also informed us that we have the right to break out each department if we wanted to, which is not something that we think is worthwhile since those are all tax collected. This allows us to make it very clear that, and say explicitly in the language, this has no tax impact. This is from another revenue source, as opposed to when it's all rolled up in with our article. This year, this past, vote that we had in March was the first time in almost a decade, actually probably more, since we've had a default budget. So it made it very clear to us that as we were trying to go through and navigate the default budget process and get our default budget in place, the sewer commission was also forced to go through those same exercises when there's really no point to it. It's an exercise we have to do under the law, but by doing that, you guys were working under revised budgets and potentially having to access those additional funding sources that you always have access to, regardless of which budget you're in. So you guys have more flexibility and independence with the way it's set up, because those protections are there. Creation of the sewer capital reserve fund is a designation under the law that previously had not been brought to the sewer commission's attention. That was something that had come up during the budget workshop and that NHMA puts out. And when we realized that that would allow access to those funds for the sewer commission, we came forward and said, we want to make sure we make you aware of that so you have full access to your funds outside of Chapter 32, which is the budgetary RSAs.
Along that line, Mr. Chairman, the sewer RSA 149, it has a part here, if a reserve fund is created, the sewer commissioners may expend those funds without prior approval or appropriation of the local legislative body.
Right.
So that's our authority, without going back to the voters to spend more money out of that reserve fund.
And unfortunately, even though the operating fund, the operating budget, is funded by the sewer user fees, under Chapter 32 in state law, even though you're an independent enterprise fund, it has to go before the legislative body to establish that budget. So since we can't get around the fact that it still has to go to the voters, which if there were a way, we would prefer to avoid that because it is only the sewer users, but at least this way we can call it out that this is specifically no tax impact, we're not raising anything new, it's the sewer fund.
Okay, thank you for your explanation. Daniel?
Yeah, I guess I wish that the note language would be up at the beginning, because people will read this. They'll be like, why are we raising funds for sewer when they bring in their own money? Get distracted by the boilerplate DRA language and vote no.
Right. I think that second paragraph where it says the budget will be predicated by the estimated revenues and having that amount appear as the same for the budget appropriation will be helpful.
Yeah.
But perhaps we could just eliminate that first paragraph since it's somewhat redundant in that the DRA language says, you know, it's setting the budget at this level. Maybe move that note up to that second paragraph as well, so it comes right after a listing of the estimated revenues.
So could you possibly reconsider the wording on the, if you're going to consider removing the first paragraph completely, could you consider the wording for the second paragraph to be something along the line that would say, this budget will be predicated by estimated revenues from sewer use fees,
Yep, bring that from the end of the sentence to the top.
from sewer use fees, collected, bring the collected from sewer use fees up to after the word after revenues,
Okay.
insert it there. And then somewhere within that first paragraph, it could possibly be stated, this article is paid for, the note becomes the second line of the first paragraph. And that way, from the word "the" to no tax impact, if that could be inserted then at the end of the dollar amount, which is $2,239,043, then it said this article is paid for by customer service by this blah blah blah, and that would set the stage for someone to actually read the first paragraph and understand that this is not a tax impact article.
Okay.
And if DRA will accept that language, then I think it would be better for the voters to understand, and for us to have a little more certainty that it's not going to become an annual scapegoat. Because this could be a scapegoat every year when the town budget passes, if people don't understand what the article's all about.
Okay. I can certainly send that forward to DRA as a draft and see if they're willing to accept the language. They usually continue review of language through January and February. So if I receive an update from them, I can definitely let you know.
We could have a voice vote on it right now based on the, I mean, it sounds like we don't have a real choice in the matter because the selectmen are going to decide it anyway. So if the commissioners are able to get the first paragraph modified to our request, we could have a vote on that tonight as a draft proposal,
Okay.
and that way you'd know. Otherwise, you can come back to us after you get an answer and we can go from there.
Okay. Yeah, and we have not brought this forward to the select board yet because we
Okay.
did want to be able to have this dialogue and kind of work out how to present it through the RA.
So perhaps the motion could be something along the order of, we agree with the concept of having a separate article.
Yes?
Okay. Well, then, I'd like to make a motion that the commissioners agree to have a separate article on the town warrant addressing the sewer commission budget.
You said the concept, you didn't say,
Yes.
you said,
We agree with proceeding forward to have a separate article for the sewer commission
All
budget.
right, so tell me what that motion is
no,
now.
I thought you said you were gonna ask to the concept of it, means we would consider it. Because we
Well,
still
yeah.
could say we don't want it, and then it would be up to the selectmen to decide what they wanna do with it.
Well, I'm of a position to proceed forward with it, so.
Well, then you can make your
yes.
motion, and if it passes, we'll move it.
Then I'd like to withdraw the previous wording, Lynn.
Okay, just tell me what you want.
A motion to have our sewer department operating budget as a separate article on the March ballot.
Okay, motion's been made to have the sewer department's article as a separate item on the ballot. Anybody wanna second that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed. So 2-1, the motion's defeated. So I'll make a motion that the sewer commission agrees in concept to consider a separate sewer department operating budget article on the March ballot. With the request of the finance department to represent the article DRA with the first paragraph removed completely and the second paragraph amended to include the note as part of the first paragraph. Did you able to get all that, Lynn?
I have sewer agrees in concept to consider a separate warrant article on the March ballot with the request of the finance department to
Resubmit
resubmit
a revised
a revised
draft
draft
article
article
to the DRA
to the DRA.
with the first paragraph removed entirely
First paragraph removed entirely. Okay,
and the note at the bottom of the article, proposed article, incorporated into the new first paragraph.
thank you.
We'll let you do the language adjustments.
Thanks.
And I made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Daniel. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. So we're accepting, we'll consider the article with the proposed amendments, and hopefully you can get them done.
And one question clarifying, I understand what you're saying about the rewording. Would you also be potentially in favor of including still a note at the bottom that of maybe just a shortened, just the last sentence or something that just says this article has no tax impact.
Yes.
Just so it's very
Yeah.
clear
Yeah.
right above the
That's fine.
recommendation.
You can put that at the very bottom.
Because sometimes when people glance at the recommendations, they see that right there, it helps catch their
Mm-hmm.
eyes, so.
All right, so, and I'll amend my motion to include that we will add, this article has no tax impact at the bottom of the proposed article. You amend your second?
Yep, I mean,
All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay,
So hopefully you can get that past DRA and report back to us.
okay,
And I think it will have a positive outcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run over to the budget committee now.
Oh, God, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.
Okay, we'll go back to a notice that David probably reviewed, and tell us what this is about, David. About the
No,
agreement with St. A's?
I just received that today from St. A's, and the PO,
Their attorney?
yeah, and what she said when she returned it to me, was, she said she attached the agreement with a few minor revisions, and because the revisions are minor and reflect prior conversations with the commission, we do not see a need to return to January 14th, 2025.
So did they
meeting.
agree to the removal of the numbers in the recitals that we asked them to?
It looks like, I mean, we sent
Yep.
the revised and they sent it back to us with just
Yes.
one little,
David,
They-
you know the
they-
lots, I'm sure
They
you...
did not mark up our list of parcels.
yeah, and I went right before the meeting, I went through each lot.
And you reviewed it, and it's in concurrence with what we
With
asked
the-
them to change back?
Yep.
So
And
The list of lots, yes.
what is important to me, Tim, is that under the terms, they will be providing the 1 January number of students, number of employees.
okay,
That essentially becomes the baseline. So 4 years from now, when they activate further terms,
Yeah.
every 4 years, you will have something to
work with.
work with. Like, for example, if the student and employee loads are exactly the same, whoever's the commissioners, they receive this in January, you'll very quickly say, let's keep the same TU rate for the May bill. But if it's, if they have 1,000 more students,
Great, we love
then
it.
that gives us something to call them into the commission, and we'll discuss a change of the TU rate. So this agreement will last forever, and it essentially defines that there are opportunities for revision every 4 years.
Okay.
Unlike the one we did in 1990, it was a one-time agreement, and it had no definition of how to bring it back before the commission.
Thank you. Very good. So therefore, do we all need to go home and look at this, or is it, do we have, is this a good document that we can sign and return, or what's the,
I don't know if I'd sign this one because it's highlighted, should they highlight it?
Well, no,
this is for our consideration, right?
Yeah.
yes, the text, I find the text acceptable, and I would make a motion in that regard, so you could sign your copy tonight and forward it to them.
Well, we'd have to get a clean text copy to sign, not this one wouldn't be.
Oh, yes, but I know that.
Right, so.
Or would you prefer a clean that we
I
send?
think we need a clean copy from them, an official copy for them.
Okay,
So
yeah.
now, does it need to be on Goffstown Sewer header? I think it should have our header, a Goffstown
I can
Sewer
do that. I mean,
header, so that it's an official document from the sewer department, not just on a blank piece of paper.
Well, the old one was just exactly what we
Yeah, I
see
don't
here.
think, usually you don't see a header on an agreement.
We don't do it on an official
No.
stationery?
It's just an agreement between,
Between two parties, so.
the agreement, the very first paragraph lays out who the agreement's between. And so, I would think it would be acceptable, Lynn, retype this as a clean document, put a cover letter on it, saying that the select board on such our date here tonight, that we agree,
The commissioners.
the commissioners agree to approve this. Would you please sign your copy and forward it back?
And then when will you be able to send the bill in for the new rates?
In May.
In May?
Yeah, that's what we've said all along. We knew it wouldn't be ready for the one we just sent out.
But that actually covers
It covers
November
January through-
to May.
No, it covers January through June.
Right. So it's what they're gonna be using in another month.
Yes.
Good time to sign the agreement and send it back. And you reviewed the list of properties, Daniel and David both, and you concur that these properties are the ones that we wanted in our, and not the ones that they tried to throw in, like the ones across the street?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. David, when we were doing this, did we consider the part-time employees, or was only full-time employees what we were considering? Because part-time employees use the bathrooms too.
Well, we asked them to identify the equivalent full-time employees.
Okay.
That's
That's
sort
our-
of
that
a,
was
that's
our
an
request?
umbrella word that covers all of the part-time employees added up to be full-time.
I think they might use that against us eventually, but that's okay. All right, so I guess we would need a motion to agree that this document is in conformance with our request and to authorize the chair to sign it and send it back to St. A's when we get a clean copy.
Well, Lynn's gonna make the green copy, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, a motion then that the agreement between the commission and St. Anselm's College that is with us this evening is acceptable, and that we authorize the chair to enter into this agreement for the commission.
Motion been made. Andy,
Second motion?
second by motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention? Nothing, all dead. Thank you very much. Mike, you have anything for us tonight?
I do.
Please.
Thank you. Change order number 3 was never executed for the East Union and Riverview Park Pump Station upgrade project. That's the work that involves removing and replacing one of the check valves
Okay.
at East Union Street. Sherburne had sent a price to us. Well, why don't I just hand these out?
Go ahead, Mike. You're on.
So they sent a price, $9,500, but didn't include a change order document. So I asked them to, put together a change order document. And so that's what I brought forth for signature.
Has it been done?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks complete.
And did you affirm that this is a fair price of $9,500? All right, so what do you need from us? We need a motion to pay this change
That's-
order, or
no,
what do you
that's-
do?
Yeah, a motion to approve and sign the change order.
Let the guys look at it for a few minutes? So our original price was $299,960, Mike,
Yes.
and we've had $50,000 in change orders. That's 15% of the total cost. Is that, normally you have a 10% contingency fund for change orders and such. We seem to have exceeded the normal 10% contingency amounts. Do you find any problems with that, Mike?
Not based on the nature of what was done. No.
Okay. I'm just curious, because I know contingency numbers are generally added to contracts, and
Oh, yeah.
in most cases, you stay within your contingency amounts.
Yeah,
Most cases.
yeah. I've seen cases or projects where change orders are,
Through the roof.
the owner just wants to do some additional things, so which is really what happened here.
Yeah, we did like the crack repair and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the floor.
The floor.
Repair and ceiling, including.
All right, well, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the change order?
I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 3 for the East Union Riverview Park Pump Station Improvement Project from Sherbon Consolidated in the amount of $9,500.
And authorize.
And authorize the chair to sign it.
And authorize the chairman to sign the change order.
Yes, seconded.
Okay, motions are made to approve the change order and authorize the chair to sign it. Any discussion on the change order? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Did you
Chair votes
second it,
yes.
Dave?
Yes, I did.
Is there anything else, Mike?
This is the original for signature. I will scan that and send it to them. Yes, this is also East Union Street and Riverview Park Pump Stations. This is payment application number 6. And it is for the work covered by that change order, which is why I wanted to get the change order squared away.
So that's the actual change order payment form?
That's the payment
All right,
application.
so we can just sign it. We don't have to discuss it, we've authorized it. Everybody can have a copy. You have one for me that you want signed, Michael?
I do.
Okay, that goes with this.
Well, this is
This
the
will
payment, so you
be-
usually do a motion for a payment.
Minus
Yeah, you
retainage.
should probably do it separately.
All right, we'll do a separate motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment application number 6 for the Goffstown East Union Riverview Pump Station Project from Sherbon Consolidated in the amount of $9,310.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
Yeah, so the only thing left on this project now is the retainage that's being held by you folks for, during the 1-year warranty period, and that's $7,006.
When does that expire?
The 1-year warranty period. I think we decided on a substantial completion July 29th. I have to check the exact date. It was the end of July,
And that stays for 1 year?
1 year.
Okay, so we won't be till next July looking to release that.
Right. That's signature.
This is the one we just did, Mike?
Yeah. In the middle, yeah, exactly.
And you're gonna send that to me to pay?
I am.
Thank you.
I wouldn't forget you.
Oh, thank you.
No?
Thank you.
Anything else, Mike?
No, we already talked briefly about Albert Street, where B&B submitted payment application number
Right.
2, which which was long overdue, I'd say, considering the work's been complete for quite a while. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's, they had some issues with it, and they just need to work with them on it and get that straightened out.
Did all that business at East Union Pump Station, not East, not East Union, Elm Street. Is it Elm Street, the little new pump station we just did? Is it called Elm Street?
Elm
Elm
Street.
Street.
Yeah.
We had problems with the panel and being called back a bunch of times for panel problems. Did all that ever get resolved, Keith or Mike?
I think they're still looking into some of that. We haven't had any problems recently, but I'm not entirely sure where that left off with Corey.
Are we paid clean on that one? We paid out our retainage on that one? Elm Street?
I don't think the retainage has been paid out.
Good,
on
I'm
Elm
glad
Street
it's not
yet.
been paid because
Yeah.
we're having troubles with alarms going off and them being called down and circuit breakers open and the things don't work or something's going on. Do you have a summary, do you know?
I don't have an exact thing, but I don't think anyone really had like definite answer on what was going on with the panel.
But there's a problem.
There was.
There
yes.
has been.
Yeah.
That's when we still have a balance in the PO that we're encumbering $45,550 for.
Well, that's good. We might have to work with them on that if we
Yeah.
continue. We might have to extend that if they don't resolve the problem by the time the,
Is it the pump panel?
Yeah, it's the control panel on it.
Yeah.
And it's brand new?
yes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one thing I wanted to ask everybody about. The second thing is, Corey, I have asked Corey to speak with Public Works about their upcoming road plan so that we can get back in sync with the Highway Department on digging up the roads and working in conjunction with Highway. And at this time, there seems to be no interest in Higgins Street or our next sewer project that we wanted to do down in that neighborhood. So it has come up in conversation that maybe Cross Street would be a street that the town would be interested in possibly partnering on because that's where that sewer from Albert Street empties into. And that also needs to have work done. So Corey is trying his best to get a schedule together with the Highway Department on what our next possible avenue might be for design for sewer replacement projects. Because I would ask the commissioners tonight if we want to continue on our own and continue to pay for all this asphalt and gravel. I really don't want to, especially since they haven't done their drainage on those roads yet. So I think with the commissioner's permission, we can let Corey continue to try to find a date of a scheduling date with the Public Works that we can get back into sync. Even if it means putting off the Higgins Street project for a couple of years. Corey said we could go to Higgins Street and clean the line once a year instead of once of every 3 years, just to make sure it's functioning correctly, even with the defects that are in it, and put off the major construction on that until we can work with the Highway Department on the project. And he's looking into alternative projects for CIP, maybe some other slip lining that hasn't been done yet, some other substantive products that we could continue with our CIP schedule. And he's going to advise the commission and you, Mike, as well as to what avenue he's recommending we pursue upcoming. I was hoping he was going to be here tonight to tell us that, but I'm going to speak for him briefly. I'm not going to say too much.
Okay.
What I've asked Corey to look into. There's another item that I asked Corey to look into, and Keith was there when I talked with him. I noticed that there's a two-pad sign where the old Pizza Hut used to be in Pinardville in the Shaw's Plaza, where they tore down the Pizza Hut.
I'm familiar with that.
That site is on a septic system that is in the parking lot of the Shaw's Plaza. That is not on our septic line because, quote, there's no line nearby.
Correct.
Well, I talked with Corey and Keith and Corey and I looked at the maps. There is a pump line that goes right by there that comes from the car wash site. It's up the road near Joffrey Street. There's a dedicated pump line that goes back to I don't know what the name of the side street is there.
It goes to Moose Club.
Moose Club Park. Now, there's also a stub at the car wash that they could hook onto and directly flow into the main there and not have to use a pump system to get the sewerage, the whole length of the road, back to the other end. And Corey's gonna look into this with the landowners. If the car wash was to hook on to the gravity line at the car wash, that would free up the pump line. If the septic ever failed or the new applicants for the Pizza Hut site wanted to hook onto the sewer and we could make this arrangement, then they could hook onto the pump line at the front of the property there. And they could pump from that pad into that line, make a connection at the street, and then pump to the manhole up the road.
So they would be the exclusive user of that
Yes. But it
force
would-
line.
But it would put them onto the sewer line and get them off a private residential, private septic system in the parking lot. So Corey's gonna try to get with the landowners and at least proposition them with this thought and see if they concur that they might wanna do that sometime. And hopefully get that parcel.
Could be an immediate expense though by the car wash.
The car wash would have to agree to take the line that flows into their tank where their pump is and connect that line to the gravity line that's in front of their property. And should they hopefully ever get their project off the ground with the laundromat next door conversion, it would be an appropriate time for them during their site work process to hook it all up and be free of the pump station, because pump stations are, as we all know, maintenance and electricity. So if they could go to a gravity system, maybe they would be able to offset their expense to dig and connect without a charge, because we're already on our system. We wouldn't charge them anything from our end other than an inspection, inspect the work.
It sounds very reasonable.
It sounds like it would be
And,
advantageous to
and
them.
The owner of the former Pizza Hut site could use that as part of their marketing to have a new tenant.
And they're advertising as pads, plural, which means there might be a consideration to be two separate structures there, and maybe the Pizza Hut was okay to go to the septic system, but maybe two structures don't actually work with that septic system. That's all engineering, that's not me. But I was just trying to offer a viable alternative to get that site onto the sewer system and to help possibly get the car wash to hook up into the gravity system. So I'm just apprising everyone of my conversation with Corey about that.
So if the car wash hooked up to the gravity sewer directly, then that would eliminate the need for the force main.
That force main was, according to Corey, that was installed for the car wash,
Yeah.
dedicated use by the car wash.
Yeah.
And it must have been before they did the upgrades on the
Yeah.
Mass Road out there.
Yeah.
Because about the time that the building next to Bartlett Elementary School wanted to build those buildings in the back, we didn't have enough capacity on Mass Road, and they had to make an arrangement for a capacity adjustment for something else. And that's all before they did the major upgrade on Mass Road down through there and enlarged the line and put the new sewer line in. So are you looking at it, Daniel?
Yeah.
I don't know if this
And you're seeing all the
Yeah.
lines?
somewhat related to the car wash wanted to operate a laundromat. Is that still proceeding or is it
That's in court with the...
in
with-
judicial?
It's in court with,
Still in
with
court?
the neighbors have it in court, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But they have their own line, their own dedicated line that goes out to the side road, which I believe they're gonna be able to use for that. But in my opinion, if a business can get rid of liability of a pump and a pump station and an electric bill to hook up to the gravity line, I think it would be in their best interest to consider it and look at the long-term cost effectiveness of it.
If they don't have a generator
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they lose power, they have no customers.
Right. Anyway, that's what I just wanted to report. Anybody else have anything to report tonight? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote, a motion, please.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Seconded.
Motion's been made to adjourn, seconded. Anybody want to discuss that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, chair votes yes. Thank you, GTV, we are wrapping up tonight.